Muslim-friendly topic. In particular, we'll talk about a service in accordance with halal standard. Before we start, I would like to introduce our speakers today, those who present. So I'd like to start with Maxim Protasov, head of Roskachestvo. We also welcome Tagir Bikshantayev. We also have and welcome Ihsan Avut, General Secretary of SMIC. We also welcome Hairul Azwan Harun, Chairman of the Board of the Halal Development Corporation of Malaysia. We also welcome Ahmad Farharov, Deputy Secretary General. And we also welcome Rustam Tapayev, Deputy General Director of Kafkas RF. So, today we are here to discuss the topic that is connected to halal service development in accordance with Muslim-friendly service and halal standards. And so we'll discuss the topics and the goals of halal industry. I hope that those goals will be interpreted into some results. And first, I would like to give the floor to the head of Roskachestvo, Maxim Protasov. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Once again, good afternoon. I guess it's the fourth session that we are conducting, and by the evening of the second day, everybody gets tired, and well, we can see that we don't have so many listeners today because of being tired. But yesterday was very interesting, especially when it comes to Muslim-friendly. I think my colleagues will support me in this. Muslim-friendly was discussed everywhere, even in those or during those sessions that were not directly connected to that. We had a morning session, the intergovernmental group on tourism between Russia and Malaysia, and mostly we discussed the topic of Muslim-friendly. And that continued for quite a long time. We continue to discuss a Muslim-friendly topic, and I know that the Russian media also paid a lot of attention to this piece of news. And before starting my brief presentation, I would like to mention the following. First, I am absolutely sure that the creation of comfortable environment, convenient environment for Muslims, both for Russian Muslims as well as our guest Muslims, this is the must. This is definitely needed for our accommodation industry and hospitality industry. Without this, one cannot develop this industry further. The President of Russia set some goals which are to increase the share of this tourism industry in the share of GDP, starting from 1.5% till 3%, and subsequently later to 5%. These are ambitious goals, and we need to increase by 3 times the export of touristic services by 3 times. I would like to reiterate this. So we need to increase the number of guests, locations, and countries from which people are visiting us to discover our country. So to do this, and we do understand it, we need to also work with domestic tourism. But the biggest part of tourists that are coming now to visit Russia come from Muslim countries. That's why we need to create the environment and conditions that will be comfortable when they choose any journey, any city or town that they would like to visit. We need to give them guidance with the direct mentioning of the hotels and restaurants where they could feel comfortable in accordance with the halal rules. And for the industry, it's quite obvious that we need to do this. And it's quite logical that the National Competence Center on Halal, that is created many years ago based on Rosquality has to play a very important part in this. And we are taking a systematic approach here. And we also work with some other areas. You know that Rosquality, as the National Quality Institute, works on the quality development in Russia, and we work on increasing quality of business processes, goods, and services in the Russian market. And talking about Muslim-friendly and halal tourism, we at Rosquality used the same methods that we've used in some other functions of ours. So our center of competence has supported the development of standards for a long time already. We are creating the federal network of our certification offices based on our accredited body, Rosquality Halal. We train experts, professionals at production sites. We also monitor the quality, and we explain to the consumers what is halal, what are halal standards and requirements. Because a lot of consumers trust this term halal, but quite often they don't know what exactly that means, halal. And you know that Rosquality also has a center of competence in the field of tourism. It is also accredited by the Ros Accreditation Agency, and it gives stars to hotels and accommodation venues. So, in other words, it classifies the hotels in Russia. And this work is done based on our territory offices. There are more and more hotels that are getting consulting services, and then they get classified in this center under the Rosquality Tourism Competence Center. And so Rosquality Halal, jointly with Rosquality Tourism, launched a system to certify hospitality venues in Russia. How is it done? Well, I guess for a lot of people here it's quite obvious, but the latest survey that was conducted by the Rosquality and international organizations show that the main 7 criteria that are important for Muslim tourists are the following. Or we should also have this presentation in English for our foreign guests, but we start here with halal food and also include some infrastructure like spa venues. And there is a whole set of requirements that are connected to the praying of Muslims. The standards that are working in the field of hospitality are based on the foundational standard, the standard that is recognized and adopted in the OIC countries. And we are very happy that all of these countries reached a consensus on this standard. And here I mean SMIC standard number 9, touristic services based on halal, some general requirements. And so we are also developing now the national standard in Russia in accordance with SMIC standard, and it will be kind of a translation, even though SMIC standard number 9 has already been translated and added to the Federal Register in Russia. And Ros accreditation bodies can certify hotels based on SMIC standard 9. So Rosquality refers to this standard of SMIC number 9, when they accredit the hotels. So now I'd like to give you a short overview of the hotels. The biggest and most famous hotels in Russia have already been accredited. Roskachestvo Hotel, I guess it's quite known in Russia, and maybe even our international guests know this, or maybe you will visit it later. It's on the left, and also such important hotels and companies that are organizing exhibitions got accredited, such as Roscongress, also Kazan Expo, the venue where we are today, has got accredited in accordance with halal standards. And also some restaurants already got accredited, for example, Zaman Hotel in the Republic of Bashkortostan. So, In February this year, Rosquality Halal and the Halal Committee under the administration of Muslims and spiritual administration of the Republic of Tatarstan signed an agreement. And so here you can see the team. This team proceeded from the knowledge and experience of experts in the Halal Committee. Those are the people that know the topic very well. And this joint team started to develop a project which is called Muslim Friendly. And we could also take it to the federal level. We could introduce the ratings of hotels, restaurants, etc., different companies, depending on the quality and quantity of services that a Muslim tourist can enjoy. This is about restaurants, cafes, as well as some medical institutions, some regular services, as well as in the food industry. And this system should indeed become federal, because if we cover all the regions, we can provide a tourist with full scope of all the opportunities. It's about hotels, restaurants, prayer rooms, and of course the personnel in these places should be aware of the norms of Islamic ethic to feel good in those places. And so this Muslim-friendly rules are already applied in more than 30 countries. We started all the guidelines and rules. We took a lot of experience from our colleagues from Malaysia. We also saw the experience based on online platforms and the information that is presented there, the information on different touristic hospitality venues, because this is to provide a tourist with a very specific knowledge how this system works. So we opened the territorial office based on the Halal Committee in the Republic of Tatarstan. This is indeed a strong regional body. It will not only do the Halal certification, but it will also complete some other tasks that are set by Rosquality. And we also plan to establish some regional offices in different regions of Russia, also proceeding from the number of Muslims that live there. But we don't limit ourselves to this. The next criteria for us is also the number of tourists that these regions of Russia can attract. Now, some regions of Russia, such as Yaroslavl and many others, attract tourists quite a lot. I'm not mentioning the Northern Caucasus region because first we have colleagues here who will elaborate on that later, and secondly, actually, there is a touristic boom in those regions. I actually don't know people who haven't been to the Republic of Dagestan yet, so I'm not mentioning the Northern Caucasus regions because we'll pay some special attention to it later. So here I'm talking about the touristically attractive cities where we should definitely develop the Muslim-friendly system at a rapid pace. To enable the personnel in those hospitality venues like hotels, restaurants, etc., to provide a good service and also to get certified in accordance with our principles and standards, these people should be trained. And together with the Russian Islamic Institute, Rosquality has launched a set of courses and webinars and workshops on halal. This is for the heads of companies, for those who work with technologies, methodologies, for those who work with export of halal products. And now we've launched a new set of trainings on the hospitality based on halal standards. Why did we do this? Our aim is to enable personnel of restaurants, cafes, hotels, campings, glampings to have basic knowledge about what halal is, about what are the requirements for Muslim-friendly approach. This will also make it possible for them to respect those standards and be in line with them. So this is the foundation that we lay at the governmental level. This is to enable Muslims of Russia as well as guests, Muslims coming from other countries, to be sure that there is a fair and honest Muslim-friendly system in Russia. Thank you, Maxim, for your very good presentation. It was very detailed when it comes to the situation in Russia. And we heard about Roskachestvo. Now let's talk about the religious side of the question. And today we have Mufti of Kemerovsk Oblast. And Mufti, the floor is yours. Distinguished Maxim, distinguished friends, colleagues, let the peace and the God's mercy be with you. First, I would like to give you a short overview of the history. We know that after the start of the 90s, we started to restore religions and practicing of religions here when it comes to our Orthodox Church and Islam. We also started to educate people in the religious schools in madrasa. We started to educate them when it comes to what they should use within halal principles. And in the beginning of the 2000s, it was more of a unique thing. For example, some halal meat, some other meat products based on halal principles. It wasn't present here a lot, but about 10 years passed, and especially Muslim regions in Russia, where we have a lot of Muslims living together quite closely, these people in the regions started to get educated. They told us, you know, we now know that we need to adhere to halal principles, and so that's how the demand for halal infrastructure came about. And also we mentioned today at the previous session that this resulted in a couple of things. Some people got educated on this topic, and they also started to establish their own organizations, like bodies, for the purposes of certification, standardization, etc. The problem was that first we believed everybody who would come to us and say, you know, this is halal meat. We believed in this. But then we realized that we were lied to. For example, a chicken meat is submitted for an inspection, and it turns out that this is not chicken, but it's pork. And so we started to research this topic and realized that we should have had more professionals in this field. And when some more organizations came about and they started to do the certification, we saw the problem that some people were honest about this and some people weren't. And as of today, and when the demand increased, and now I would like to share my experience. In Kemerovo, we started to organize different conferences and events. And a lot of guests were coming to us to visit, and we started to negotiate with the hotels that we should provide a Muslim-friendly service. And when the heads and the directors of the hotels weren't Muslims, they understood our requirements, and we negotiated that we had to organize some infrastructure in accordance with halal principles. A couple of years ago in Kuzbas region, we hosted the international sport games, Children of Asia. We also were among the organizers of the games, and we provided the infrastructure for Muslim athletes that were coming to participate in the games. So another example is Sabantui. This year we are going to organize the 4th Sabantui, and while we are working within the organizing committee, we do understand that on the one hand it's about the religion, but on the other hand, a lot of people, Muslims and non-Muslims, are coming. And obviously, we need to also provide some Muslim infrastructure, halal friendly. because we also need to understand where Muslims will eat, where they will pray. And so starting from such events and games as Sabantu and ending with a lot of international games, we learned about the specifics of a Muslim-friendly service. And we started to step-by-step educate the hospitality players, and they started to get accustomed to this more and more. And so it starts with the education of people, and once people understand what halal is, they start to require this. And if Muslims can't provide the service for some reason, then it's also acceptable if non-Muslims will provide this. But still, there is a problem that we should have a unified all-Russian body that we could trust to avoid being deharmonized, because, well, sometimes one person says, well, this is halal, or one country says this is halal, and the other country says this is not halal. And, well, I'm very happy that now here we are also working on standardization and uniting ourselves to be at the same level, to be honest, sincere in creating unified infrastructure as well as unified information field. When anybody who comes to Russia and sees that Rosquality has approved something, they believe that this is good, and it is recognized not only in Russia as halal, but also in many other Muslim countries. That's how Muslims in Russia and other guests can be assured that they can use these services without any concerns. So if we do this right, then these services will be also used by non-Muslim visitors, guests, and tourists. There is such a need because this is right, this is clean, this is very nice. And I hope that the work that we have started will be continued, and I believe in this. Judging by our 15-year experience, 15 years ago, we had a very basic understanding of halal here, but today we already got to the federal level appreciation of halal, and I guess that now we will unite all together, Muslims and the state, and we'll do everything that is needed to make it comfortable, to make it convenient for Muslims to practice their lifestyle. Thank you.
So, in fact, we cannot overestimate the role of your organization, and it's a great example of collaboration that was highlighted at the previous sessions. So we see the fruits of such cooperation, because we are talking about something real, not a possible future. You showed how in your region that you represented, that you are responsible for, but in North Caucasus, there is the Republic of Dagestan, for example, and I know for sure that there is no 100% halal hotel in Dagestan. It's unbelievable, and when I come to Dagestan and I ask, why don't you have them? And they say it's not customer-oriented. Well, it's very narrow-minded thinking. So we can create Muslim-friendly over there. So yes, you can find hotels with halal food and accommodation, but anyway, yes, we will do this and we will set up such hotels. So yes, I'm sure that there will be such hotels, but still, in Chechen Republic, and if you visited it, you know that we have separated beaches, fitness clubs, fitness centers. So for men and women, there is nothing mixed. And everything is halal apart from imported goods, but it's not regulated, and lack of regulations is a source of problems always. But now I would like to listen to some international experience. That's why we have great experts. And the first one will be Ihsan Ovyud, who is the Secretary General of SMIC. And he will tell us more about his experience in this industry.
Thank you, brother. I'm not from industry, that's correct. I'm from standards bodies. Thank you again. This is my second time I talk about halal tourism, or your word, you say Muslim-friendly tourism. In here in the sector, it is just for the conformity of the or be Muslims can be travel freely and benefit from the facilitate from the hotel accommodations, and then come to your country, other countries, and in a safe, and then be relaxed and then be happy during the traveling. Because if your travel make you under stress and terrible conditions, you cannot be benefit or cannot be come again in the same condition, same the hotel or same place. Tourism is, as you know, now is a very famous sector, especially halal tourism. Now many people from Turkey I know coming and looking the, they say, halal hotels or some terminology like this. This issue also was discussed under the OIC level, because in the OIC there is some ministerial level meetings, tourism ministry. It will be in Hiva end of this month again, and then they accept our standards as a guide for all Muslim, and then the main guide for the traveling, for the hotels, for the guide, for travel guide, for touristic guide, for all facilities. Also, we have joint project with this platform. There is another standing committee at the OIC level, the COMSEC, for the economic cooperation. Many years there's a team working on this terminology, under this term, Muslim-friendly accommodation or Muslim-friendly traveling or facilities or accommodation, etc. They have a report also. Here they advise we need this unique and single standards. As well now, the Malaysia has experience for as other issues. They start first to standardize the sector. All standards are similar, yeah, in majority, no any major difference between the standards, just name of the country or numbering is different. Under SMIC, I can say with nearly 5 years studies, end of 2019, we published by consensus all SMIC members, and we harmonized all standards from different countries, from Gulf standards, from there was time Bosnia and Malaysia has, Switzerland, Turkey has one. We all harmonized with all. And during this study, Islamic Academy, Sheikh Islam, so Sheikh experts, they said, please don't use the Muslim-friendly, because it's not maybe sometimes very sympathetic, but in the reality, if you say like this tomorrow, the other religions will start different friendly, Jews friendly, Christian friendly, or Buddhist friendly. We will mix everything. Halal is halal for everything. There's a fatwa. Don't use this suspect terminology, because we have to be concrete on some issues. Something halal or not halal. When you go to Muslim friendly, mean some suspicion is still there. That reason in our standard we bring 3 categories, A, B, C. In A, it will be advanced level. All people, Muslim people, can find them in this category. For example, is a hotel for the holiday hotels. There is separated swimming pool, separation for the ladies, men, different children, matured young people, etc. And facilities about something non-halal issues cannot be inside. It's advanced. Second level, Muslim also can use it, but some part of, for example, swimming pool, etc., cannot be 100% separated. This we say B level. The C level is, as a Muslim, you can stay freely in a hotel. You can find a room, or if you need help for dining, for eating, they will help you. That's especially the Western hotels, for us, as yesterday I said, ablution places or other cleaning, you cannot find enough in the bathroom and others. This is very important. Sea level is at least as a Muslim can stay. If he needs something, hotel will help him. This is sea level. We solved all problems of the halal tourism about from our different members. Alhamdulillah, there is a consensus. Now we start to, our members start to certification. In Turkey, I heard they have 5, 6 big hotel certified. Small places, small hotel for, sometimes hotel direct doing, after the request of the guests, they are doing these services. But they're not certified. If they need, there's a guide. In the future, because this territory, many people from Muslim countries, from Arab countries, Middle East coming to here. We have to, this human right, we have to serve these issues, these services to them. Shortly, this is our activities. This committee also work in different issues like SIPAS, like other places. Inshallah, in the next years, we have new halal tourism standards in different sectors, in different approaches. Also is open to all our member states, observers also, Russian President as an observer can be active in working of the developing or revising standards, because standards cannot be like a regulation is stay as it is, anytime can be revised, anytime can be changed, can be withdrawn or replaced with new ones. So standards for our happiness, not for our barriers to on us. Standards are not holy document, include some holy issues. We have to be careful. Sometimes people are using standards like a very holy document. Holy is different, holy is Quran, holy is other main documents. In standards, how we will help for sectors, producers, service providers, certifications, how they will do their job. The standards, our standards is also open to all comment of you. Thank you very much for giving me again this chance. Thank you.
Спасибо, Оксан Овид, за...
Thank you very much, Mr. Ovyud, for your point of view. You know that is quite discussionable whether we need to use Muslim-friendly title, and at my lectures we discuss it as well. I get this question from banks, from companies. They say we want to use Islamic bank or Islamic finance or Islamic something, and they say we are afraid that people would think that it's not for everyone. But on the other hand, it's actually like a guide that this one is for you. It fits you. So it's a very arguable question that we need to discuss. I know that this title, Muslim-friendly, is being used in my professional view, that it's okay. When you say that halal is for everyone, I absolutely agree. Halal is for everyone from the very beginning. And thank you very much for your opinion. It was very interesting to listen to you. And now I would like to give the floor to a person from Malaysia, chairman of the board of the Halal Development Corporation in Malaysia, Malaysia, Hairul, Azwan, Harun, a person who lives in a country where halal is being developed so fast. And in Malaysia, there is a Muslim population and non-Muslim population. Please tell us about your experience.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Halal and Development Corporation of Malaysia. We are a government agency under the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, and HDC is the custodian of Malaysia's halal economy and also the central coordinator of halal ecosystem in Malaysia. So allow me to actually correct some misinformation and misperception. In Malaysia, there are two key institutions. Number one, that deals with certification. JAKIM, many of you know JAKIM, which is the Religious Affairs Department of Malaysia, that deals with every single aspect of certification. And JAKIM is the central coordinator as far as compliance to Malaysian halal standards. Now, HDC, on the opposite, we deal with industrial and economic development of halal. So that experience that we have in establishing the ecosystem is based on our 50 years of experience. This spans 5 decades, since the mid-70s. That this experience that we have has put Malaysia in the forefront, and for 10 consecutive years, we have ranked number 1 in the world as far as providing halal ecosystem. And this has also been established by the research and survey done by DINA Standards, which is based in Washington and Dubai, that has just been produced recently to show that Malaysia continues to lead the world as far as the global halal economy. So allow me today to also share with you our experience in Malaysia. I don't want to just focus on the terminology of Muslim-friendly. We have had Muslim-friendly services in Malaysia for many, many years. But like Brother Ihsan was saying just now, halal is halal. If you don't comply to the standards and you are not following the basic tenets and rules of Sharia, you cannot call yourself halal. But of course, in Malaysia, ladies and gentlemen, with the Malaysia's halal ecosystem, we are having a well-structured governance. It is premised on the presence of National Halal Industry Development Council, chaired by our Deputy Prime Minister, that formulates all policies as well as execution and implementation of our master plan, what we call the National Halal Industry Master Plan 2030, which foresee or which, as shown in the screen, by the year 2030, we expect the halal economy in Malaysia to contribute to our overall GDP, the gross domestic product of Malaysia, up to 11% from where it is now only at around 5 to 7%. That will meet a bigger plan, which to make Malaysia's halal products and services to be prominent, visible and globalized. Now, ladies and gentlemen, like I said just now, Malaysia's halal ecosystem spans 5 decades. Beginning in the 1970s. Over the years, we have seen and witnessed remarkable evolution and growth, drawing invaluable lessons from our experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, I must also reiterate here, Malaysia has been the major reference point of many, many OIC member countries. We thank to the OIC and also Islamic Development Bank, together with our partner in SMIC, that Malaysia has proven to the global halal community to have a very, very sustainable halal ecosystem, as you can see in the screen. If people ask about Malaysia's halal ecosystem, it's all about the components. In the components, can you draw back to the slide earlier, please? Yes, it's all about the components and infrastructure that we have in the whole halal ecosystem. And I must also share with you, many marketplaces have come to Malaysia to learn our experiences basing on this ecosystem that we have. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me also to speak on Muslim-friendly in Malaysia. Now, Malaysia's proactive stance in advancing in halal economy is deeply rooted in our diversity of its population. Now, Malaysia's population comprises few and several races. We are a melting pot of cultures and faiths. As you know, Muslims in Malaysia make up approximately 65% of our population, while the remaining are predominantly Buddhist, Hindus, Christians, and others. Now, this unique demography makeup has perpetuated a continuous demand for halal products and services within Malaysia. Now, the level of awareness among our population, our diverse population, as far as ethical consumption of halal certified goods and services are very high. Even in Malaysia, non-Muslims would go to shops to buy and consume products and goods which are halal certified. Now, but again, navigating the integration of Muslim-friendly into Malaysia's robust halal framework was not without its complexity. In Malaysia, halal is governed by a law underscoring the nation's commitment to halal. This legal framework extends to encompassing Muslim-friendly consideration, demanding an understanding and adaptation of our Muslim-friendly definition to align with our unique context. As such, Malaysia's approach to Muslim-friendly services is intricately connected to its broader halal governance framework. In Malaysia, before, if you talk about Muslim-friendly, there are shops, there are food outlets, restaurants, eateries, even hotels, even boutique hotels and boutique accommodation service providers, because they are not ready to go into full halal certification, but at the same time they need to start selling their products and services. So they opted to use the word, for example, Muslim-friendly, deemed halal, or even no pork, no lard. This has been a trend in Malaysia, and only until JAKIM, which is the body that deals and that manages the compliance or certification, realized that we cannot go on with these ununiform practices. So hence, HDC, now we combine with JAKIM, we are introducing what we call a digital platform that allows consumers who are looking for halal certified goods and services to start using the digital application and to get information about the goods and products that they're about to consume and to buy. This we call I-Mesra, or it's actually I stands for Islamic, and Mesra literally means friendly. Now, this has got nothing to do with halal standards compliance. I-Mesra remains an app that will be seen from consumers' point of view where consumers have the right to know the goods and the products that they are consuming are actually halal compliant or deemed halal compliant. But at this stage, the goods and services are not actually fully certified and fully in compliance with the halal standards as yet. iMoisture serves as a preliminary simplified service for verifying the halal status of a business practice. While it's not a replacement for full halal certification, iMoisture signifies a company's commitment to providing halal offerings through the use of halal ingredients. Now, in Malaysia, we know we have to move towards this because it takes some time for every, for example, restaurant and food outlets to get themselves certified by JAKIM. It takes months or even years. And sometimes the information that been provided by the applicants to JAKIM may not be in complete mode. So application has to be rejected by JAKIM. But businesses have to go on. Businesses have to go on to be continued to be operated and start. The operators must continue to earn money from their businesses. So therefore, HDC, we are offering this iMoisture application in order for them to be able to continue with business. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me before I end my remarks. Malaysia, along with OIC member countries, and I think Russia plus Central Asia countries, should prioritize digitalizing the halal industry. Adopting science, technology, and innovation, or STI, will help establish a truly uniform halal standards encompassing not just food, but other Muslim-friendly lifestyle. Additionally, integrating ESG, environmental, sustainable, and good governance principle, will ensure that halal industry also adheres to ethical and sustainable practices. Ultimately, our goal is to achieve halalan thayyiban, representing the highest quality and safety standards in the halal ecosystem. All these efforts, such as iMoisture, shall be the integral components of our diplomatic engagement. Malaysia is deeply committed to this. Ladies and gentlemen, I must emphasize this. Under our leadership of our Prime Minister, Anwar Ibrahim, drawing from our past experience of 50 years, establishing our halal ecosystem, it's time for Malaysia to share our expertise and know-how with other partners from other regions and continents. So we have mooted the halal diplomacy, an innovative approach that allows us to create meaningful linkages, extend our assistance, strengthen cooperation, and achieve mutual prosperity through halal. Today, the demand for halal goods and services is valued at around USD 3 trillion. Yet, the world has only met 20% of this demand. There is 80% which is not yet met. And Malaysia or even Russia cannot do this alone. It has to be, we have to foster more collaboration with other major countries, especially the OIC member countries, to continue expanding the cake and have everyone to share every slice of the cake. What Malaysia aims to do is to expand this market, much like making the cake bigger, so that everyone can have a share. By increasing the supply of halal products and services, we can ensure that more people and businesses around the globe can benefit from this growing sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Спасибо за выступление.
Thank you very much for your speech, distinguished speaker from Malaysia. We do hope that we'll be able to accommodate you 50-year experience in our industry in halal. And so now I'd like to give the floor to Ahmadu Afrur from Indonesia. So, Sheikh Fafrur, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished speaker, audience, and all participants of this International Kazan Forum 2024, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to represent the General Chairman of Majlis Ulama Indonesia, the Indonesian Ulama Council, K. Haji Muhammad Anwar Iskandar, to deliver his speech on MUI's experience in implementing halal product standards in Indonesia, where the majority population is Muslim, more than 220 million. Ladies and gentlemen, I will read the speech written by K. Haji Muhammad Anwar Iskandar with the title, The Role of Majlis Ulama Indonesia in the Global Halal Product Certification. Ladies and gentlemen, Majlis Ulama Indonesia has long experience in carrying out halal product certification. It has been 34 years since the MUI has taken this role. The Majlis Ulama Indonesia main objective in taking this role is to protect Muslim Himayatul Ummah for consuming products that are haram or subhat. Ladies and gentlemen, for Muslim, consuming halal product is part of their faith because it is required by religious teaching, Quran, Surah Baqarah 168. Currently, development of knowledge and technology in the field of foods, medicine, and cosmetic has advanced so much, making a product no longer use raw materials as they are from nature, but it's possible to carry out engineering in such a way that is difficult for anyone to know the halalness of the product without an auditing process and tracing the material and production process. Ladies and gentlemen, food products sold freely in the market are required to include raw material information on their packaging. This inclusion is intended so that consumers can know exactly what ingredients are contained in the product they are going to consume. For Muslims, this information is important to know whether the product complies with halal rules, so that if the product is consumed, it is believed to be halal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is difficult for Muslim consumers to determine the halalness of a product based only on the raw material information on the packaging, because the term used also use certain codes in accordance with the codes often used by scientists in laboratories, which are difficult for ordinary people, non-scientists, to understand. On the other hand, it is not easy to find out whether a product is halal or not just by using a religious text or nusus sharia, because the crucial point of whether a product is halal or not halal is not only the raw materials, additional material and auxiliary materials, but also in the production process, especially if the product comes from a country where the population is predominantly non-Muslim. Ladies and gentlemen, even if the raw materials are holy and halal item, it is possible that during the manufacturing process they are mixed with, used, or come into contact with impure material or mixed with haram materials. In such condition, even though all the ingredients are halal and holy, because the production process is mixed with or comes into contact with unclean item, and there is no Shari purification process in the subsequent process, the product is still not halal and it's haram for consumption by Muslim people. Ladies and gentlemen, according to Islamic teaching, Determining whether something is halal or haram cannot be based solely on assumption of value of likes and dislikes. Determining whether something is halal or haram must be based on the Quran, Sunnah, and Lihal rules, namely guidance lines that can be accounted for in a Sharia manner. In this context, halal product certification is important. It will protect Muslims from consuming haram and shubhat foods. Ladies and gentlemen, talking about halal product criteria in general, halal product certification must go through two stages, namely the scientific assessment stage and the Sharia judgment stage. The scientific judgment is carried out by Lembaga Pemeriksa Halal, the Halal Inspection Institute. Before the law of halal product guarantee came into effect, the LPA function was carried out by LPPOM, Lembaga Pengkajian Pangan Obat Kosmetik, Majelis Ulama Indonesia Assessment Institute for Food, Drugs, and Cosmetic, an institution under the Majelis Ulama Indonesia whose members are scientists who are experts in food technology. Currently, there are dozens of other halal inspection institutes that carry out this function. Ladies and gentlemen, when Sharia judgment is carried out by Majelis Ulama Fatwa Commission, this process is carried out by assessing the result of the Institute LPA work in Sharia terms. Sharia judgment is carried out using agreed halal standards. Majelis Ulama Indonesia already has halal standard talks, the fatwa regarding food, drink, medicines, cosmetic, and good use and involved in daily life, especially those used for worship or related to product consumed. The standard has been used referenced by foreign halal certificating bodies and determines halal fatwa. Ladies and gentlemen, manhaj of fatwa is an important thing in halal product certification. It is the halal product because without a clear manhaj, the halal fatwa, which is the basis for issuing halal certificates, does not have a valid basis on terms of Sharia accountability. Because trade in halal product is borderless, meaning it is not limited to state jurisdiction. It is important to realize a global halal fatwa manhaj. This is intended to so that halal certificates issued by halal certification institution in one country can be directly accepted by similar institution in other country. Ladies and gentlemen, Majelis Ulama Indonesia in determining the halalness of product use the following principle. Tawassuti opinions, namely moderate opinions, non-tashadduti or tasahuli. In determining the halalness of food and drinks, Majelis Ulama Indonesia use the principles al-akhdhu bil akhwat and khuruj min al-khilaf. Ladies and gentlemen, based on the thing I have said, I think there needs to be coordination between halal certification institution in the world and the needs to be agreed halal standard or manhaj, so that halal certificates issued by any halal institution in the world can be recognized by all countries. Apart from that, it is necessary to hold regular meetings to evaluate the development of halal product and respond to various problems that arise related to the increasing development and advance of food, beverage, and cosmetic product in the world, and look for solutions to problems that have not been agreed upon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the speech from Haji Anwar Iskandar about Majelis Ulama Indonesia experience in implementing halal product standard in Indonesia. Thank you all for your attention. May Allah get us to stay paid and may you all receive blessing for Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Валейкум салам рахматуллахи ва баракату. Баракаллаху фик, Шейх Ахмад. Спасибо за ваш...
Thank you very much for your speech. I would like to remind you that Indonesia is one of the largest countries when it comes to the number of Muslims. And now let's discuss this topic further and go to the national level, go to Russia. And I would now like to introduce Rustam Tapayev, who represents Kafkas RF, and he will be talking about the touristic flows in the region. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'd like to welcome everybody in Tatarstan. I would like to thank our international friends and colleagues who've come here to participate in this forum. It's a very important event for us. I represent a macro region, the North Caucasus. It's a very interesting region. Mostly it's populated by people who practice Islam. That's why for us, this forum that welcomes many guests from Islamic countries is a very important one for us. We come to this forum yearly, and we can state that after this forum, our cooperation with the Islamic countries gains some new dynamic, and we start to develop this cooperation faster. Today, as I've already said, I would like to say that the Northern Caucasus is interacting and cooperating with a lot of Islamic countries, and we also offer some welcoming tours for tour operators from Islamic countries, and all the comments that they voice are taken into account and implemented into our touristic industry. Year by year, we see the increase in the number of tourists that are coming to our region from those countries. And this is the symbol that we are doing the work right. We also have a lot of other areas to improve. And today, distinguished Maxim Protasov already said that there is progress in certification of hotels. And that makes us very happy. Together with Rosquality, we are conducting quite an immense work. Unfortunately, there is still some room for development. We would like to move faster. Unfortunately, now in Russia, I don't think that there are any resorts that could be called Muslim-friendly. There are no any recreation facilities. We are also working in the region of the Caucasus mineral waters, and we do hope that quite soon there will be some resorts and recreations that could be and will be Muslim-friendly. And I would like to say that actually Muslim-friendly is a term that makes tourists trust the service, and we should confirm this trust, and we shouldn't devaluate it. I would also like to mention a couple of republics that are within our Northern Caucasus region, such as Dagestan, for example. There are a lot of tourists coming to Dagestan now. A lot of people are discussing it and talking about it. And, well, the Caucasus tourism is developing twice faster than in Russia in general, and Dagestan is even ahead of this dynamic. And now we are actively working together with the regional authorities to improve this service, to create some new places, infrastructure, and hotels. And I guess that in 2 years, you'll see the results of the work that we are doing now. I would also like to mention the Chechen Republic. In this respect, it's developing within Muslim-friendly standard, and it's a leader here now because almost all the places are already adapted to this concept. And we also building the mountain skiing resort, which is called Veduchi. And we position this resort as the one for the family vacations. It's for those people who practice Islam. They could come there and they'd feel very comfortable at this resort. And they can really enjoy their time there. As I said, the latest mission that we hosted was from Iran. This mission consisted of tour operators. There were some tour operators coming from other countries, and I do hope that in the nearest future we'll be able to welcome tour operators from Malaysia and Turkey and from other Muslim countries. We are fully ready for this, and we can do everything that is needed, and we are ready to welcome tourists as well as investors. And we are really hopeful for the cooperation with Muslim countries. Thank you. Thank you, Rustam, for your interesting presentation. Indeed, we are looking forward to those tasks to be completed, the tasks that you mentioned. And now I'd like to give the floor to the Deputy Director of Export Center, Sergei Selivanov. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I would like to thank the Russian Quality System for their initiative and for the organizing of the session today. I do not only represent Expo Center, I also represent some Expo activities. I am a deputy head of the Committee on the Expo and Exhibition activities in the Russian Chamber of Commerce. So exhibitions is a very good entry point to the market. Expos can really help to attain the goals that Maxim already mentioned today, such goals as the development of export and of international cooperation between Russia and other countries. Today, I would like to talk about how we develop our cooperation with the Muslim countries through our Expo activities. What is an Expo Center? This is the leading Expo platform and the leading organizer of exhibitions in Russia. This year, we will mark 65 years. We conduct about 100 exhibitions per year. 27 of those are our own, and we also welcome 80 guest exhibitions. We welcome more than 1,400,000 people, and we provide the opportunities to arrange the expositions to more than 30,000 companies. 105,000 square meters is our expo venue, and our next exposition, an expo on the metallurgical processing, is opening very soon, next week, and I invite everybody to come if you are available. So different exhibitions such as the Prod Expo and the Chemical Expo are success stories for us. Also, the medical exhibitions are a very good example of our cooperation. And more than 4,000 exhibiting companies took part in our exhibitions and events. And also we welcomed a lot of companies from Russian Federation. Well, obviously, the vector of our international cooperation over the last 3 years has shifted, and now we separately develop our cooperation with the CIS countries, so with the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and countries and BRICS countries. And we analyzed the composition of all those companies, and we also analyzed how many Muslim countries are there. And so we also calculated how many exponents are from OIC. And, well, we have 1,114 exponents from 17 OIC countries. And they also participated in exhibitions, and their platform and square meterage was about 14,000 square meters. So OIC countries account for about 40% of our exponents. And if we compare ourselves to 2022, now we have more than 400 companies plus. And so last year we built 10 national expositions with OIC countries. And 127 countries from our OIC countries presented their products. And companies from 17 OIC countries participated, and so they've increased their participation when it comes to 2022 by 60% when it comes to the square meters that they occupied. Expo Center welcomes not only some guest events, but also national exhibitions. Those can definitely be organized, taking into account norms, rules, and goals that the organizers have. One of such examples is the exhibition of the Islamic Republic of Iran that took place in Russia back in 2016. At our own exhibitions from 2021 up until now, we've organized 7 expositions of Iran, and 64 companies took place in those from Iran. So quality is our priority. Of course, we want our guests to feel comfortable, safe, and we also want our participants to be useful and fruitful. And one of these components is the Muslim-friendly system. And within our largest exhibitions, such as Prod Expo, we organize collective expositions, proceeding from the norms and requirements that are set by our participants. In particular, we arrange prayer rooms. And to conclude, I'd like to go back to the words that Maxim already voiced today. Muslim-friendly is not a standard. It's not only a norm. It's the quality mark. And we all try to be in line with this. Thank you. Thank you, Sergei, for your warm words. And I do hope that this is how we are going to continue. Dear colleagues, thank you very much. We are concluding our session. Everybody who already spoke, I guess, said everything that they wanted to say. You can also discuss some questions on the sidelines. So, dear speakers, thank you very much for coming here, for sharing your experience. Yes, thank you. And thank you to our dear moderator.